you know, then it's a cool thing.
I love going out and hearing other people. You know, absolutely.
So, but it's also, you know, you want to be aware of what's going on around you. But
the networking aspect is a little bit, right? It's
yeah.
Good. Yeah.
And I usually, if I'm going to support another band, I usually don't tend to pimp the networking thing too much. But if I'm going to like a Grammy event or I'm going to, you know, something like that, you know, then you should always be networking because you never know.
You can pimp my audience anytime.
Yeah, well, it's, you know.
Because, you know, the thing is, in my opinion, is that people they do get afraid, like, of stealing other people's audiences. I think there's enough for everybody.
Absolutely.
I always have felt that, and when some of these venues in Los Angeles say, well, are you playing 3 weeks from before or 3 weeks after?
Yeah.
It's, well, yeah, I am, but some people will go to that and some people will go to that. They really aren't going to go, I'm not going to that because I'm going to that.
Right.
You know, I really think that that's a little...
Well, I think that what the
crazy.
venue's looking at is they're looking at the economy. I mean, a venue is a business, you know, like everything else. And they really, and I won't say this for all venues, I will say it for a number, is that, you know, all they worry about is the numbers.
Right.
You know,
and they need to, don't they?
Yeah, and they do. It's a business.
Right.
But, you know, there are some venues that just don't care if it's a jukebox moving back and forth on the stage. As long as they bring people in and they're drinking, that's fine. Mm-hmm. And that's some clubs. And then there are other clubs that are all about the art. And they love it, and they really support the bands, and they really do that. But when they say, look, I can't have you playing here and here and here, it's because they realize that their audience, the people that are coming in, have a limited amount of disposable income.
Right.
And if they spend it, and if they're going to go see you across the street, then they may not have enough money to support any other band.
Right.
You know, so it's like, wow, if they're going to be in town to see you, you can't be playing across the street because that's going to steal away. People can't afford to go out twice in a week.
Right. But I also think people choose a certain night. If you're playing on a Tuesday night and you're playing on a Saturday night, some people will never ever go out on Tuesday night.
Right. Well,
they'll only go on Saturday nights or whatever. There's a lot of other elements that I feel that the venues need to discuss with the artists. You
Absolutely.
know? And back to you. And I know love your new album. It's great.
Thank you. New album is called In the Meantime.
In the Meantime. What a great name. Where'd you come up with that?
It's kind of about, and the title track of the song is it kind of explains it, but basically it's the conversation that we're having and kind of what the article is about is waiting to see what the blues is going to evolve to. Okay. And it's like, while everybody's kind of up in arms about whether it be conservative blues or contemporary blues or new blues or blues rock and everything like that, I'm like, well, while y'all are doing that, in the meantime, I'm going to put this out there.
I love it. Oh my God. This is a great segue to what I wanted to talk about. Thank you so much, Bill.
So that's kind of what the record's about.
I'm the one that's supposed to be in charge of the segment, okay? Not the person I'm interviewing. No, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about that and how I know that, you and I have talked before a little bit about, getting accepted when you have too much rock and roll in you. Yep. Tell me a little bit about how Phil Gates has dealt with that.
Well, that's interesting. My take on the blues industry is it's great, it's growing, and it has some limitations in it. And I've done some interviews on radio stations that are so wanting to hear new stuff, and I've done some interviews where they don't want to hear anything new. And there's a growing segment of people where it's kind of like, if it doesn't sound like 1950s blues or earlier, or you're not emulating that or copying that, then it's not the blues. And that's kind of, I get the aspect of you want to preserve the blues, but at the same time, it's like it's not a Ford or Chevy conversation. Both cars, there's room for both. There's room for old school blues and new school blues. And it's like, if Robert Johnson and the people that were listening to the old Delta players that were only guitar or dobro and voice, what if they had said, well, if you're going to add drums and a bass, well, that's rock and roll.
Right.
So now Muddy Waters is rock and roll because he has a band. Or what are the people that that loved Muddy Waters in the Chicago? What if they had said, well, if you're using electric stuff, that's not the blues.
Right.
So now you discount the whole Chicago era of the blues. Mm-hmm. Or what if you say, well, you've plugged into a Marshall amp with a Stratocaster and you started playing with the distortion pedal. Well, that's not the blues. That's rock and roll. Well, now you've taken out Buddy Guy. And you've taken out, all these great players, know? So it's like, where do you say it's rock and roll and where do you say it's blues at, So a lot of people love Stevie Ray Vaughan. Well, he was vamping a lot of great artists. He was vamping Hendrix, he was vamping Albert King, a lot of cool things like that. But he's playing with a cool distortion pedal and everything like that. Is that rock and roll?
Doesn't it really come down to what the audience wants?
It comes down to what the audience wants and what they'll accept. And what's interesting is that I think it needs to evolve back to that, because in the old festivals, Newport Jazz Festival or old festivals, they would have guys playing Delta blues, they would have guys playing Chicago blues, they would have guys playing more rock blues, and they all lived together, and it was great because the audience got to get all these different flavors, you know. And I got taken off of a festival one time. I got told I was too rock and roll, and I was like, well, that's interesting because a lot of these people in the audience have bought my product and are at my shows,
right?
You know, and it's interesting because the audience wants to hear it. To me, the audience really wants to hear a lot more newer stuff. They're ready to go to the next page.
Or both. How about together?
Both.
How about a mix?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, it's like they want that. They want the original blues and the new.
Right.
They want it all, and they should get it. They deserve it.
Right.
You know, because they're supporting us.
Yeah, and we both talked. You know, yesterday we were talking about how blues is becoming more popular.
Absolutely.
Okay, and with becoming more popular, there's different rules.
Absolutely. You have to expand, and you have to decide if you want to be niche or if you want to be available. If you want to be niche, then you stay niche, and you don't complain about being niche. You be proud of it. You know,
that's a great point.
You know, you just go, okay, this is what the blues is. This little ball is the blues, and that's all we ever want it to be. And we want to just have this and preserve it, and that's what it's going to be. If that's your target, be proud of it. Right. Don't have this and go, well, I wish we were this.
Yeah.
You know, so because this means letting everything in. You know,
there's a great festival in Portland, Waterfront Blues Festival. Right. You know, and it's such a great festival because you can go over to they do book blues rock, and they do book all kinds of different variety of blues. But you can go to the different stages to hear what you want. You can, as far as acoustic or electric or different styles, and you really can choose. Yeah. And again, I think it's what the audience wants.
I absolutely agree. I think that it's the future in the blues is in the hands of the gatekeepers that are still listening to the audience.
Okay.
They're still going, well, if this is what the audience is digging, let me poll the audience and just do like any other business. We're in an arts business. It's very emotional. It's very passionate. It's not black and white like selling computers or something else. However, same business rules apply. Just like IBM has to be in tune with their buyers and who's buying and what demographics it is and what they're looking forward to, then we have to do that as gatekeepers of the blues. We have to say, what does the audience really want to hear? Let's ask them. Right. And not just tell them,
that's too commercial. No, I mean, some people are a little afraid of the commercialization of blues.
But like I said, it's like, was Chicago blues commercialized Delta blues? Was, so it's like it's just got to turn to the new page. And so, and I just want to see, I'm excited to see what the blues evolves into, because I want to have cool Delta blues, and I want to be able to play my dobro at a gig and people dig that, and I want to be able to play electric blues and they dig that, and I want to be able to play rock blues and people dig that, and they do at the shows, and I just think that it's going to be a thing where, like I said, the people that are open enough to go, I'm not afraid that the blues is going to go away if I allow this in. Right.
It won't go away,
it's
ever.
not going anywhere. As long as
yet.
There's relationships and money, there will be the blues.
Love it.
Yeah,
so I
know. So it's not going anywhere. So I just think it's going to be a thing of like letting it grow, and like you said, it's going to have growing pains. But I'm excited for those pains because it means it's progress.
Right.
And as long as we're moving forward and staying open and supporting these new things, then I think it's going to be pretty killer.
So what's Phil Gates up to, like right now, and kind of future stuff? I know you went to Switzerland and international
that was fun. Was over in Europe and Switzerland. We played a couple of really nice festivals over there, and that was a lot of fun. And what was interesting is on the point you were talking about, the clubs saying play here, don't play there. On paper, the first year I went. They said, well, you're going to play at this club Friday, and you're going to play at the same club on Monday. You're going to play the same club on Friday, and then you're going to play this other club Saturday. And I'm like, awesome. Well, it turns out the clubs are about 100 meters apart. About 300 feet apart. Right? So I played this venue on a Monday, and it was packed. We had a great time. So I'm like, okay, well, if the circus has been to town, probably Saturday we'll have, maybe 60 or 80% of the audience. So Friday it's packed. So I'm loving it. I'm loving life, right? Yeah. So I get to the venue on Saturday, and the guy's like, the circus has been in town twice now. Is there going to be anybody here? That's the way that. And it was packed on Saturday as well. So it's just, and I think that's why a lot of us go to Europe, is because they really appreciate the blues there and everything. And I think it's more special over there because it's more rare. Mm-hmm. And here we have so much of it that people get a chance to sit back and be a little more picky about it. Right. Instead of it's like, wow, it's coming to town and I got to see it. As many times as it's here, I got to see it because it's not coming around again for a bit. So we did the summer tour
in Europe, and then I went up to the Northwest and did some stuff up in Montana and had a great time at their festival up there. And so now it's more just I also produce. So I'm producing one band right now, and doing a second band. This artist, this girl songwriter that I've done another record for. We're about to jump back in the studio, so I do producing. So when I'm off tour, I'm producing bands or doing consultation on how bands can get a better presence in the marketplace, and how to build their web, and how to build their social media, and how to get a bigger, how to present themselves.
You become a teacher, Phil.
Well, I like it. I like it because the thing is that we all got to rise up together.
Yes.
So if it's a matter of just being stingy with it, then it's just...
Well, thank you so much for listening. I'm Kelly Z with MusicUCanSee and AmeriBlues.com. We're here with Phil Gates. Thank you so much, Phil.
Thank you.
You can find Phil at philgates.com. You can find him on iTunes.
You can find us socially. You can find me on Facebook. There's a couple different pages on Facebook. Just Google Phil Gates, Phil Gates Music, Phil Gates Band. Twitter, I'm on there. MySpace, philgates.com. For music-wise, I'm on iTunes, CD Baby, Pandora, all the music sites, Amazon.com, anywhere that you see music. Let's see, gigging-wise, just go to any of those sites, ReverbNation.com, something like that. All my calendars are on all my sites. Come out to a gig. We're going to have fun.
And today we're at Brickhouse Studios with Tim Leahy, who's a wonderful, wonderful producer of the blues, and he's here letting us use his studio. Thank you, Tim Leahy.
Thanks,
MusicUCanSee and AmeriBlues.com.